All right, so welcome to the deep dive. We're going to get into some really interesting stuff today. We're talking about automated YouTube channels. I mean, think about it, YouTube, but without ever having to show your face. It's a thing.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's actually working for people. You sent me some info on these channels, some pretty surprising stuff, honestly.
Yeah, the whole thing is pretty fascinating, right? Like, people are finding success without even
That's
being
it.
on camera. I mean, we'll dig into why that works, but the real interesting part, how they're making it all happen. Like, how do you automate a YouTube channel?
Right. Okay, so first up, we're going to look at these animal stories, like heartwarming animal stuff, you know. Our source here is a video transcript, and get this, it talks about this one channel. It's only 5 months old, but it already has like 11 million views. That's insane. They're sharing those crazy animal friendship stories. You know the ones I'm talking about? Like rare pets, all that good stuff.
Well, I mean, think about it. We're kind of obsessed with animals, right? Always have been. It's like built into us or something. And these channels, they're smart. They're giving people what they want, curiosity, and they're hitting us right in the feels.
And the cool part, you don't even need to like go out and film all these animals. Imagine you could just use those AI tools, edit together stuff that's already out there, add some voiceover, maybe use AI for that too, and bam, you've got yourself a video about, like, I don't know, a dog who adopted a bunch of kittens. People eat that stuff up.
Oh, absolutely. The AI stuff is a game changer, no doubt. It can help you find the footage you need, copyright free, and you can create some amazing visuals. And the AI voiceover thing, that's genius. You don't need to hire anyone. You don't even have to be good at voices. It's all right there.
So next up, we're going to move from animals to people, and not just any people, entrepreneurs and their businesses. Success stories. Our source actually mentions this one channel that's just 6 months old. They only post like once a month, which is crazy, and they're already making like $1,300 every month.
The thing about these business stories is they tap into something really powerful. We all want to achieve something amazing, right? So hearing about someone who started with nothing and built this whole empire, it's like inspiring, you know?
And it doesn't have to be those huge names, those companies everybody already knows. Think about all the smaller stories out there. Local entrepreneurs, people with unique businesses. I bet those stories would be super interesting. And it's not just entertainment either. These videos could help people who want to start their own businesses, give them some ideas, and show them what it takes.
Totally. It's a win-win. People get these inspiring stories, and the people making the videos, they get a dedicated audience, people who are actually interested in business, you know?
Okay, so ready for something completely different. Let's dive into cars. Not just like cool cars, but the whole history of car companies, how they started, the people who built them.
Ah, this is a good one. Because this could appeal to so many different people. I mean, you've got your car enthusiasts, right? They love the mechanics, the design. Then you've got history buffs who want to know how the whole car thing evolved over time. And don't forget the aspiring business owners. They can learn a lot from these car company founders.
So the source actually talks about 2 different ways to approach this niche. One channel, they just focus on telling the stories of the founders, like really in depth, you know, their backgrounds, their big decisions. And then there's another channel, they mix those founder stories with information about specific car models, almost like one channel for everything car related.
Both approaches are smart. The founder-focused one, it really taps into that idea that these were like larger-than-life figures, you know? Like the cars they created were reflections of who they were as people. And then the model-specific channel, well, I mean, you can have amazing visuals. Classic cars, races, maybe even some crashes, though hopefully not too many of those.
It's like getting a history lesson, a business lesson, and a car show, all in one.
Exactly. And when you think about automation, there's just so much material to work with. You've got archival footage, documentaries, all this public domain stuff. It's all there waiting to be made into something awesome. Imagine using AI to take like old footage of that first Ford Model T rolling off the line and then adding a voiceover telling the story of Henry Ford, like how determined he was to build this thing.
All right, so are you ready for a curveball? Because next we're going to talk about celebrity obituaries. I know, it sounds kind of dark, but trust me on this one.
It's not about, you know, being morbid or anything like that. It's more about celebrating people's lives, you know, the impact they had, their legacy.
Yeah, so this source actually talks about a channel. They focus on celebrities who died in a specific year. And they create these like mini documentaries, right, with all the details, career highlights, even stories from people who knew them. It's a cool way to like revisit their work, understand their journey. And honestly, it can be pretty nostalgic.
I think of it as like a way to remember them, you know? Keep their stories alive.
And for the viewers, I think it taps into that like natural curiosity we have about famous people, their lives. But it's done with respect, It's not just gossipy or anything like that.
Yeah, the key is to be sensitive. It's about commemorating their lives, what they achieved, not about exploiting their deaths just to get more views.
Okay, so for our last two niches, we're going to tackle some stuff that's always in the news.
Yeah.
War, survivalism, finance, economics.
Big topics.
Right. And people always want to understand these things, like what's going on in the world and how it'll affect their lives.
Definitely. But these are also niches where you got to be careful. There's a lot of potential for misinformation, People can get scared easily, so it's super important to use good sources, be objective, present things in a balanced way.
Exactly. So the source actually gives some examples. In the war and survivalism niche, there's this channel. It's all about preparing for, well, basically anything bad that could happen, social disruptions, conflicts, that sort of thing. And honestly, that's just been getting more popular lately.
Mm-hmm. And then for finance and economics, there's this channel. They cover all the financial news, trends, what could happen with the economy. It's like trying to help people make sense of this whole crazy financial world.
Yeah. And with both of those, the challenge is to give people good information without freaking them out,
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough balance, but if you want to keep people's trust, you got to do it right.
Oh, yeah. It all comes down to credibility. You want to be a source people can trust, and that means using accurate information, not trying to manipulate people with fear tactics.
So we've covered a lot, right? From cute animals to the stock market.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many different niches there are. And honestly, some of them you'd never think of. But they're working.
It's like a whole hidden world on YouTube, and the potential is huge. What's really interesting about all this? It kind of challenges how we think about YouTube, Like, we always think you got to have this big personality, got to be on camera all the time, got to be pumping out videos every day.
Yeah, totally. But these automated channels, they're showing us a different way. It's more about, like, quality over quantity, right?
Yeah.
And using automation to make the whole process easier.
It's like building a machine, But instead of making widgets or whatever, it's making content, a system that just works. You can put out good stuff consistently without having to be the star of the show.
And you know what else is interesting? The money. Our source actually breaks down what some of these channels are making. And it's kind of crazy, to be honest. Remember that animal story channel? The one that's only been around for like 5 months?
Yeah, the one with millions of views.
Yeah, that one. They're estimated to be making around $20,000 every month.
Wow. Especially for a channel it's all about visuals, right? It just goes to show, if you pick the right niche, something that people really connect with, and you do it right, you can grow super fast.
And even the channels that don't upload as often, they're still doing pretty well. Like, remember the business story channel? They only do one video a month.
Yeah, crazy.
And they're still making around $1,300.
It really shows how powerful it can be to, find your niche and just nail it.
Mm-hmm.
Give people what they want, information they're actually looking for, and you can make a good income, even if you're not posting all the time.
Speaking of good information, remember that car channel, the one that mixes founder stories with details about the cars themselves?
Yeah, that one was cool.
They're making about $1,000 a month, and they've only been active for like a year.
It makes you wonder if, combining niches is the way to go, Appeal to a wider audience. They've got car enthusiasts, history buffs, business people, all in one.
And they're doing it all without having to be like this big YouTube personality or having super expensive production. It just shows what you can do with a little bit of automation and, smart content.
I think that's a really important point, though. It's not about replacing creativity, human creativity, with algorithms. It's more like AI is a tool, a really powerful tool. And you can use it to, make your content better, get it out there to more people, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Imagine using AI to, transcribe interviews for you or add captions to your videos. You could even translate your stuff into different languages. It's crazy what you can do. It's like the whole world is your audience now.
Oh, and don't forget about research. Think about using AI to sift through tons of data, find trends, pull out those little nuggets of information that would take you forever to find on your own.
It's like having a research assistant, but one that's super powered, and it can help you find all this amazing stuff that you can then share with your viewers.
So taking a step back here, what do you think all this automation means for YouTube, for content creation in general?
It feels like it's making things more fair, Like people who maybe don't have the money or the time to make these fancy videos, they can still share what they know, what they're passionate about.
Yeah, it's breaking down barriers, for sure. And it also changes how we think about, staying relevant. You don't necessarily need to be making new videos every day. With automation, you can build this library of content that people can watch, forever. It's called evergreen
And
content.
it's like work smarter, not harder,
Yeah.
right? Focus on making stuff that people actually want to watch.
Okay, but let's talk about the ethics of all this. Automation's great, but you got to use it responsibly.
Totally. Like fact checking is super important, especially with those like war and finance channels, right? You got to make sure you're not spreading misinformation, especially about stuff that can really affect people's lives.
Yeah, you don't want to be scaring people unnecessarily. And remember those copyright laws. You can't just use any footage or music you find. Make sure you have the rights to use it.
Oh, right. And be transparent. If you're using AI to make your content, tell people about it. Let them know how you're using it, why you're using it.
It all comes down to being honest with your audience and using these tools in a way that doesn't hurt anyone.
Okay, so let's turn things around for a second. Think about you, the listener. All these automated YouTube niches we've talked about, what's caught your attention? What's really interesting to you?
Imagine you're standing at this, like, crossroads, right? And each path leads to a different YouTube niche. Which way are you going to go? What speaks to you?
Maybe you love the idea of sharing those heartwarming animal stories with the world. Or maybe you're more interested in, like, explaining complicated financial stuff in a way that everyone can understand.
Or maybe you've always loved classic cars. Or you're fascinated by history and want to tell the stories of the people who shaped the world.
It doesn't matter what it is. There's a niche out there for you, and you can make it your own. Remember, this isn't just about making videos. It's about sharing your knowledge, sharing what you're passionate about with everyone. Okay, so we've talked about like all the potential of these automated YouTube channels, the tools, the responsibility, all that. But now I want to know something. What could you bring to this, like your own unique perspective?
That's the really exciting part, right? It's not about just copying what everyone else is doing. You got to find your own voice, your own angle, your own way to add something new.
Imagine taking like one of these niches we talked about and giving it a whole new spin. Like, what if you combined travel and animal stories? You could have a channel about like all these amazing animal encounters from all over the world.
Yeah. Or maybe you could like take history and business and make a channel about, I don't know, forgotten entrepreneurs, people who changed their industries, but no one really remembers them.
See, the possibilities are endless. And you don't have to like have everything figured out right away. That's the cool thing about making content. It's a journey.
Totally. As you're doing your research, writing, creating, you're going to find new things, make connections, and probably find all sorts of new directions to go in.
You might even discover a whole new niche that like no one's even thought of yet.
That's what I love about YouTube. Anyone can find an audience if they have a story to tell, something they're passionate about.
So if you're thinking about starting your own automated YouTube channel, remember, have fun. Enjoy the process, try new things, and most importantly, don't be afraid to be yourself.
Yeah, let your personality come through, even if you're not on camera. Your passion, your excitement, people will feel that. It's contagious, you know? It'll draw people in.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of automated YouTube channels. We hope you've learned something new, maybe got some ideas.
Remember, success on YouTube, it's not just for, the traditional YouTubers. If you're creative, use automation strategically, and you're passionate about something, you can build a channel that people will love.
So go out there, explore those niches, experiment with the AI tools, and share your voice with the world.
Until next time, keep on diving.